heart of where innovation, money, and power collide in Silicon Valley and beyond. This is Bloomberg Technology with Caroline Hyde and Ed Ludlow.
Live from Los Angeles, California, at Bloomberg Screentime, I'm Caroline Hyde.
And I'm Ed Ludlow. Coming up, we'll have full coverage from the event, covering the intersections of Hollywood, Silicon Valley, and beyond.
And look, throughout the program, we're going to be hearing from industry leaders. Ari Emanuel of Endeavor, Donna Langley of NBC Universal, Laura Miele of EA, and so much more.
Screentime gathers moguls, celebrities, and entrepreneurs defining the next phase of pop culture. We'll discuss and debate the future of cinema, the boom in streaming audio and video, the latest sports and gaming experiences, and the potential impact of artificial intelligence, and much more. Including, of course,
look, what has been top of mind for all investors, for all executives, indeed all citizens, Ed. At large, we are thinking about the war between Israel and Hamas. That's where the conversation started. One of the most prominent Hollywood executives, Ari Emanuel, Endeavor and TKO Group Holdings CEO, himself Jewish. He sat down with Bloomberg's Lucas Shaw.
He nominated a minister of Homeland Security that didn't even serve the mandatory military term required in all of Israel. He nominated a second minister of Defense who barely was a soldier. He fired the minister who was a general and had to bring him back because of public pressure. He refused to meet with key military figures. He was trying to change the Supreme Court because he had to keep himself out of jail. And this led to a vulnerability that is unprecedented. And this would be like 30,000 Americans dying in 9/11. That's what happened in Israel. And I just think it's time that we get rid of this man.
That was Ari Emanuel, Endeavor and TKO CEO. I want to bring in Bloomberg's Lucas Shaw, managing editor, leading our Screentime coverage. You have put this event together. And my goodness, in terms of an individual name, what a way to start. I thought there was one rule in Hollywood. You do not go in public and talk about your biggest competitors. And Ari Emanuel did that, and he had strong words for CAA in particular. Explain that to us.
Yeah, I mean, look, Ari Emanuel has never been shy about criticizing his competitors. He's perhaps one of the few people who doesn't follow that rule. He, as he does, went out of his way to criticize them on two fronts. One was specific to this lawsuit that's related to Harvey Weinstein and assault and what CAA may or may not have been involved in with that. I'm not going to get into specifics of it because it's a lawsuit, and honestly, I'm not the expert. All I do know is that I'll be asking CAA CEO Brian Lord about Ari's comments later today. He did also, of course, criticize the business because he has taken a very different path from CAA. He has built a media company off of a talent agency, whereas CAA has really stuck to talent representation. And I think Ari prefers his choice.
And of course, his choice being what they discuss of a flywheel effect, this idea that they're able to make acquisitions, able to build on particularly sports with media. And this is where we want to go with the next piece of, well, conversation you had yesterday, just discussing the PGA in particular. Take a listen.
We put in our bid.
Yeah. For what?
For the PGA deal.
Okay. For a piece of the tour, or for the whole thing?
For the PGA, yeah.
A piece or whole?
You can't buy the majority.
Okay, thank you.
So, I would love to.
Yeah. Now, on the sports rights front, a lot of this is predicated on that market continuing to increase.
Yeah.
That has been ballooning for a long, long time.
Right.
Given what you're seeing with the kind of continued collapse of TV, the way that some...
Okay, I'm not going to interrupt you, okay?
Yeah,
the NFL
well, you know where
made
I'm
a
going.
10-year deal with linear television. 10 years, okay? The linear business is not going anywhere. They've also made deals on digital. We did the same thing. ESPN, ESPN Plus on the UFC side. WWE did, Peacock, Showtime, USA Network, and Fox, which is whatever. So the linear business is not going anywhere. The sports business is moving is going to figure itself out between digital and linear. It's an unbelievably healthy market. They all have to be in it. They all want to be. Every single one of the players want to be in it because of the audience. We have two assets in the sports business that are year-long, don't have a season. I don't believe prices are going down. You're going to figure out the bifurcation of the rights and give things up, not give things up.
How long do you think it is before Netflix actually jumps into sports?
They're in sports right now, but they just do the shoulder programming.
Yeah.
I think their point of view, and you'll ask Ted tomorrow, is we build up we don't want to be in the bidding of rights and then not have any long tail. So I'm not sure. They did bid on Formula One, but ESPN got it. So I think that was a smaller package, meaning smaller economics. So we'll see.
We've gone through all this time without talking about Hollywood, so now I got to ask you about that.
Hollywood?
Yes.
Oh, wow. I only studied about sports. Yeah.
I think you know what you're talking about. Do you still consider yourself an agent?
Yeah, I'm in it. I'm an agent. Yep, I got Marty Scorsese's movie coming out. Coming out. I just finished two significant deals at Netflix for a significant amount of money for two big clients.
Care to share?
I think they've got with Tyler Perry and David Ellison. So, yeah, I mean, I'm in it every day with clients, every day.
He's still an agent. He's still a deal maker, Lucas. And that was another interesting furrow of conversation for you. Ultimately, UFC, WWE coming together. This is why he's got a new name, TKO CEO too.
Yeah, I would love to know if you could talk to Ari Emanuel in like the late 90s, early 2000s and tell him he was eventually going to be the king of combat sports. I don't know that he would have believed that. I mean, he has clearly always aspired to more. He doesn't want to just be an agent. He wanted to build an empire, and he has acquired like 30, 40 companies.
The empire building continues. That was what was amazing on stage. The little hints he dropped about the rights deals, 6 bidders, talking about Raw and SmackDown. He doesn't hesitate to say, oh, I got this, we're doing business.
Yeah, well, look, he's done it before. With the UFC, people doubted him. They didn't think he'd find a deal, and he ended up getting Disney to pay him a fortune.
Yes.
And it inflated the value of UFC by billions of dollars.
Can you go into that element of trying to explain, it feels like, to analysts, to investors, what his business is all about? He kept returning
Well, he
to this
tried.
idea.
Yeah.
Well, he keeps turning to this idea that it's sort of, he's misunderstood. How do you buy that?
Well, he's always had this problem, right? When Endeavor first went public, or tried to go public, they called it off because people didn't know what they were buying. They had half of UFC, but not the whole thing. Then they had all these other things, like professional bull riding and the talent agency, and nobody really knew how to value it.
Yes.
And it's still a hangover for the stock because, yes, they have TKO as like simplified UFC, WWE, but then they have all these other assets in Endeavor, which owns a big piece of TKO. And he has tried every time I've spoken with him, a lot of his media appearances to kind of convince investors otherwise, and so far it just hasn't worked.
We had the charts up on the screen, right, of the share prices of each of those companies, and him sort of turn over his shoulder and go, that's not right, it should be going in the other direction. He is regarded still as super agent, and he actually kind of gave some details about deals he's done recently for clients with Netflix. I was surprised to hear that.
Well, the Tyler Perry one, I don't know if it had been announced or not. The David Ellison one has been reported but not officially announced. I assume that he was referring to this NFL project that David Ellison, who is Larry Ellison's son and a big deal Hollywood producer, is doing with Netflix. He obviously didn't get into the specifics, but one of the great things about interviewing Ari is that he's just a little more open and transparent than most media executives.
Well, let's talk about some of the other media executives you're going to be speaking to later on in the day, because I'm going to tease out some openness from all of them. Who have you got?
Yeah, we got Ted Sarandos to start the day, co-CEO of Netflix at about 10 Pacific. Then we've got the CEO of YouTube, Neil Mohan. Later in the day, we've got the kind of king of K-pop, Bang Si-hyuk. Let's see, we got CAA's Brian Lord, who will probably respond to what Ari Emanuel said. We got Bill Simmons, the podcaster, Kris Jenner. It's going to be a great day.
It is going to be a really great day.
We're framing Screentime as where Silicon Valley meets Hollywood, but that is completely true. Think about the names that Lucas just reeled off. Netflix, YouTube, a property of Google, Alphabet. This is really happening. as you know, spare a thought for video games.
Yeah.
That's how, the billions of dollars behind that industry, and we're going to have some really good conversations about that too.
Yeah, throughout this particular show. I also think kudos to Lucas and Lucas Shaw. We thank you for joining us here on television to go scoodle off to go and do some of those key interviews. But I think what's really notable is the amount of diversity that we've got here as well. Women, men, people of color. And I think that's going to be a really thoughtful conversation with some of the key investors that we're going to have on the show. Is ultimately, how are you still thinking about diversity in Hollywood as well?
Yeah, and this is an industry that is changing because all these players that we just discussed want a piece of the pie, and that pie, how it's split up, is changing.
We're going to be discussing it so much more ahead. This is Bloomberg Technology.
If there's one company that you believe will have a really good next 5 years, who is that?
YouTube, Google will be fine. I think Microsoft will be fine. I think Netflix will be fine. I would not put my money on Paramount. I think there's going to be rough times at Fox.
Which of those was a bigger surprise to you?
I think probably Oppenheimer. An R-rated film with that subject matter and at the running time. But I was really surprised at the sort of the breadth of the audience.
Live from Los Angeles, California, at Bloomberg Screentime, I'm Caroline Hyde.
And I'm Ed Ludlow. Look, this is a massive industry we're about to talk about. It's not the silver screen, it's video games. And what a moment this industry's had this year. We're delighted to be joined by EA Entertainment President Laura Miele. I worked out overnight that the first year I played FIFA, the globally recognized football or soccer game, was in 2002. Thierry Henry was on the cover of that title.
Amazing.
The big development for you is you've renamed to EAFC and you've changed the deal with FIFA. That's well documented.
Yes.
It's been about a week of full distribution. Can you give us a sense of how that's gone? That was a big change for a lot of fans.
Oh, it's a big change for all of us in the industry. We're so optimistic about what this change means for our future. And we certainly will talk more about FC in our earnings call, but I will tell you early reads from our players, which matter the most, that the sentiment is very high, engagement's high, and they're incredibly excited about the quality of the game. And this is just an incredible moment for us to launch our own brand, EA Sports Football Club, FC, around the world. And so we are looking forward to another 30 years of incredible game experiences we get to bring to players.
I just want to jump in that. Your job is the licensing, the studios. Is it possible to ever go back to FIFA? And the point was that they asked for too much money, right?
Well, we saw it as a great opportunity for us to actually have more flexibility, more creativity. We have over 300 clubs in the game, so it allows us more deeper partnerships with them. It allows us to have partnerships with people like Nike, which is great for our players. And we can also have more creative and creator tools for players in the game. So it's really a significant opportunity for us to evolve and change the experience. And we will. FIFA was a great partner for us, and we had a great partnership together. So we will look to potentially do World Cup partnerships in the future as possible. So it's just a bigger future, more expansive is how we're thinking about it.
Let's talk about creator tools and the studios with which and way they develop these games right now. The oxygen has sucked out the room all around AI this year. Is that something you've been leaning into, thinking about the way in which this is going to really supercharge the way in which you can provide content right now?
AI is such an exciting topic, isn't it, for so many companies, and particularly for gaming. And I would say, I also went back to the archives and was thinking about AI for Electronic Arts. We're such a native AI entertainment company. Back in 1988, 22 of the players in Madden were AI players, and so we've always been connected to it. But this is certainly a new era, and certainly a new phase for AI. And we are thinking about it in three ways. It's definitely going to optimize what we have for tools and workflows and help our developers and players create better experiences. It's also going to be a significant expander of content and frequency and how we show up.
Right.
And it can also be an incredibly transformative with business models, our scale. We have 700 million players in our network. And so the idea around moderating content for them and keeping communities safe is going to play a meaningful role for us in that transformation and our scale.
Laura, what's interesting is going back in your archives, you've been at the business for 27 years.
Something like that. I was very young.
Very young, but you've scaled. And what's interesting is when you look at your titles, you've been highlighted as one of the most powerful women in sports. You're on the board of governors for the British Film Institute. Like, this shows the power of gaming, because it isn't just about gaming, it's IP at its very nature.
Content.
Let's talk about the scale of the industry. Does it go unnoticed sometimes, do you think?
Oh gosh, perhaps. I mean, gamers, there's 3.5 billion gamers in the world, so they certainly are noticing what we're creating. And it's close to a $350 billion industry, so it's significant. And certainly outsizes some of the media, other movie and TV content for sure. But the thing I'm most excited about is what gaming brings to culture and what gaming brings to society. So gaming is certainly about play. People are creating, they have creative self-expression in our games. They're watching other people play games. And most importantly, they're socially connecting around all of this. And so it is a sizable industry. A lot of people play games. We are incredibly inspired by that. And we have such a runway and so much growth ahead of us. You think about Gen Z, Gen Alpha, they have grown up. Like, this is their number one entertainment medium, their number one preferred choice. And so the idea that this is ahead of us and that they are just entering into market and then generations behind them, I'm just so optimistic about the growth ahead still.
The seismic shift in your industry is Microsoft's acquisition of Activision, if it goes through as expected in the next couple of weeks. Where does that leave EA? You're basically the biggest independent studio left. So do you become a target, frankly? Hard question, but how do you stay competitive?
Well, what an amazing deal, right? I mean, I believe...
You're positive about it.
I am positive about the deal. This will look to be the largest technology acquisition in U.S. history, I believe. You will know more than I do about that. And it's about a gaming company. And so I just think it punctuates the significance of gaming and the role that we play in media and entertainment and technology. So I'm very optimistic about what this all means as an expander of how we're seen and how we can partner and the significance of gaming and culture in general. And for electronic arts, we know that making games is hard. Actually, it's very complicated, high form of media.
It takes a long time.
And a lot of money, a lot of time. A lot of companies have tried. And so, yes, of course, I would imagine that companies are interested in electronic arts because what we do is very hard, and we are very good at making good games. And so, but I would say that we're just mostly focused on our strategy, mostly focused on the future and executing really well for the growth plans that we have ahead.
It's so wonderful to have some time with you, and the work you've done in diversity and in showing that it's a diverse community that's building EA over there with you as well. We really appreciate it. EA Entertainment President Laura Miele, we thank her for her time. So much more ahead across the world of entertainment. You've got exclusive access right now to Bloomberg Screentime.
Okay, live from Los Angeles, California, Bloomberg Screentime. I'm Ed Ludlow.
I'm Caroline Hyde, and here at Screentime, they've identified the ones to watch in the future of business to entertainment. Hollywood fuses with gaming, and we're so pleased to really dig into what the future of content is, where you're making it, how you're consuming it, with Paige Elkington. She's a content creator, she's a podcaster, and also she's been featured as Bloomberg Business Week's One to Watch. Paige, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
How do we describe what your role is?
Yeah, like, what's your job?
Yes, exactly. I am a very annoying multi-hyphenate. That is very popular these days, but I have multiple income streams, but I make content mostly for brands to help sell their products. And then I do traditional acting and podcasting and writing as well.
And the reason brands come to you is because of your reach, because of the impact you make and the content you produce across platforms. What do you make of the content that you could be putting out? Where do you align yourself? Is it TikTok? Is the future about Instagram? Do you still even go on X?
So I think TikTok is absolutely the future. I think in terms of TikTok ads, the amount that you can go viral on TikTok is so significant. I mean, I think if you have a podcast and you have a particular soundbite that goes viral, you overnight now have this massive following that you didn't have before. Or if there's a product, you're being pushed a product by an ad by someone who's authentically selling it to you in a relatable, sometimes like comedic way. And I think people really relate to that.
Like they did with your video about underwear.
Right, on YouTube. But here's the thing,
Yes.
like, so after you were announced on the Ones to Watch list, Caroline and I look at where we can find you.
Right.
Everywhere, frankly.
Yeah.
X, the formerly known as Twitter, YouTube, TikTok. So do you make a piece for each one, or do you just say, okay, I'm going to make a video and I'm just going to send it far and wide? Like, it's very time consuming and energy intensive.
Well, it depends on the client. So with different clients, the scope of work is completely different. Maybe it's a YouTube ad for one client. Maybe for another client, it's UGC content, which is user-generated content.
And you have different numbers of followers on each.
Yes, yes. But sometimes they're pushing it just on their socials. Sometimes I'm pushing it on mine. It really depends on the client and what the deal is, how it's structured.
Ultimately, are you embracing the world of artificial intelligence to enhance the way in which you can produce content?
The only way I'm embracing artificial intelligence is through ChatGPT. I use it every day, mostly just to make pitch decks for different brands, and then sometimes for research, but that's it.
How confident in the long-term stability of the world in which you work do you feel? How much do you think you continue to monetize in the way that you currently monetize?
I think I feel very good about it because I think that's the way things are moving. I think we're moving away from traditional commercials and traditional advertising, and we're moving more towards these kind of like micro influencers and comedians all driving or working with brands to sell products. Like, I feel that that's the way marketing is going and advertising is going. Like, I buy more things from TikTok ads and Instagram ads and YouTube ads than I ever did from like commercials on television. So I think it's a good lane to be in.
You have a good following, but not massive, right? I think it's
No.
fair to say. Who do you look up to? Who are the content creators you try and model yourself after?
Well,
Or is that the wrong strategy?
you know, I kind of look to a lot of different people. Like podcasters, I look up to people like Bobby Altoff. She's like one of these people who blew up overnight, and that's exactly what I was trying to say earlier. She had one podcast episode with a very hilarious comedian that blew up, and her next guest was Drake. But that's just because her these little sound bites went viral on TikTok. So I look up to people like that who take really interesting angles with their podcasting.
Thanks to Paige Elkington, content creator, podcast straight from the Ones to Watch list to our studio here in Hollywood.
And it really is about the way in which you can harness sudden overnight success. We're going to be discussing that with Kris Jenner on stage in a little bit. There is so much more ahead. This is Bloomberg Technology live from
Hollywood.
We are live from Los Angeles, California, right here at Bloomberg Screentime. I'm Caroline Hyde.
And I'm Ed Ludlow. And look, in the background, writer's strike done, actor strike continues. This is a really exciting, fun event, but very serious discussion happening on the ground as well.
Yeah, exactly, about how the allocation of capital is currently distributed around Hollywood, and in fact, how content is produced as well. Where is the winning formula? The perfect guest yesterday was Donna Langley. She's Chief Content Officer over at NBC Universal, and boy, has she had some winners this year. Here's what she had to say.
The big picture is it has never been more, I would say, volatile. I mean, it has, but you know, it continues to be volatile. But like you said, we did see real signs of life this summer. So generally speaking, box office is down globally around 20% to 2019, so pre-pandemic levels. But this summer, it was 5% down. Right, so it would suggest that even though there were winners and losers of this summer, and obviously we had the two big juggernauts with Barbie and Oppenheimer, you know, movie-going begets movie-going, right? So when there's a season filled with, you know, good movies that people want to see, you know, I was made to feel pretty optimistic about what we saw in the summer.
You mentioned Oppenheimer. We can talk about Barbie, although that's not one of your movies. Your two big movies of the year were Mario and Oppenheimer. Which of those was a bigger surprise to you?
I think probably Oppenheimer. You know, I mean, an R-rated film with that subject matter, and you know, at the running time, and I wasn't surprised that it was successful, right? I mean, it's Christopher Nolan. We know that he is a singular filmmaker who audiences globally really want to go see, but I was really surprised at the sort of the breadth of the audience, the demographic. It skewed from young kids, not young kids, but teenagers, all the way up to an older audience. So it was pretty surprising.
You used the word singular to describe Christopher Nolan. I'm wondering, because in conversations I've had, at least in the last few weeks, few months, there seem to be some people who are drawing conclusions from Oppenheimer, seeing that as a really good sign, say, for the Martin Scorsese movie that's about to open, or other very long, big dramas. Do you feel like the success of Oppenheimer says anything about the business, or is it the case that Chris Nolan is just a filmmaker? Like, from where I'm coming from, at least, Chris Nolan and Quentin Tarantino seem like two filmmakers where if they make a movie, they're like a brand, right? Even if they're original, people will show up to see them. So I'm not do you get what I'm saying? I'm not sure if that means anything for even a Martin Scorsese, because his movies, their performance have been less consistent.
Yeah, I think, I think in the case of Christopher Nolan, he makes films for the big screen. And really for the big screen only. Of course, you can watch a Christopher Nolan movie at home, and eventually you'll be able to do that. But I mean, everything he does, from shooting on IMAX to 70 millimeter, to the way that he really his films encourage audiences to experience his films on IMAX screens and in the large format. I think it all speaks to, again, I use that word, a sort of singular cinematic experience. You know what you're going to get, not subject matter wise, but you're going to get a very fulfilling experience at the movie theater, and sort of, quite frankly, value for your money.
I mean, you've just heard from a power player in the world of entertainment.
And a dame, no less, in the UK.
And what struck me was the very simple message about what's happening with the actors' strike right now. Yeah. There is a risk that next summer there are no movies, no films at the box office, and that is a big concern for them, and that's the impetus to get something done on these strikes.
Yeah, and ultimately protecting and reevaluating how money is allocated, how you protect them from the future innovations that come in the world of entertainment, sports, AI, of course, being top of mind.
And the consensus that Oppenheimer was a huge surprise hit.
Yeah.
I thought that was really interesting. Let's keep the conversation going. Joining us now here in Hollywood, Charisse Clark-Suarez of Harborview Equity Partners, an investor in intellectual property, essentially, right? I know you have an emphasis on music. Your firm looks across the entertainment space. What's business like for you at the moment? It's a fight out there.
It's a fight out there. It's so good to be here with you guys. Business is great. We've got a lot of opportunities in the landscape to really be thinking through how we can be supportive of creators with capital to really support kind of what their next phase of their life cycle looks like. In particular, after the summer of strikes and, obviously looking to see some resolve with respect to the actors' strike, you're seeing a lot of creators start thinking about how they can engage with capital partners differently. And so we're excited about all of those opportunities. We spend a lot of our time in music. We buy a lot of music-related cash flows and IP because we believe in how non-correlated it is and how perpetual the asset is and how important it is to the human condition.
Can you push us forward in terms of what income revenue stream looks like for you? You've built businesses for Morgan Stanley, for GE, in terms of allocating capital. This is your second time building your own business.
Yeah.
What is the monetization value in music rights?
Yeah, so music rights, I mean, I think, we're here at Bloomberg Screentime, and we're talking a lot about how technology has really empowered how consumers can really pull content and the content they're really interested in. And so that's really allowed for, obviously, streaming, and how streaming has really democratized how consumers can engage in the music space has really been a big pull. pull through. But certainly what you're also seeing, which I think you're seeing also across the media space as well, is you're seeing that, highly engaged, diverse audiences can now tell you where they want to spend their time. We're fortunate in our portfolio to have the Song of the Summer, Ella Baila Sola by Esteban Armado and Peso Pluma, and that's largely because we see real value in deep engaged audiences, and we try to really find ways to invest behind them. And as you do that, you can participate in the overall economy of how music is engaged. We're listening to music right now.
That's crazy. Like, I get the strategy, get in early, the talent before one of the big players comes in. But think about when you're scrolling through Instagram, Reels or TikTok, you have these people posting their own content, incredible talent, vocally or as musicians, about how people watch music as a video on YouTube. How do you play that market?
Yeah, I think for us, in terms of playing that market, because we are so connected to the original IP and owning the original IP, wherever it's used, however it's engaged, is places where it's a monetization event that allows for our investors to benefit from that monetization. So whether it's TikTok all the way through to YouTube, to Spotify, to Apple Music, to watching things in other formats, those are all places that create value for the underlying IP that we own.
Who are your investors and how are they changing this economic landscape?
Yeah, so our investors, we're a private equity and asset management firm. Our investors are very traditional investors that you would see in any other private equity and asset management firm. So pension funds, endowments, foundations, large-scale partners. Like we have a very strong partnership with the team at Apollo, is a big partner of ours as well. So we have a number of different investors that are very traditional, but mostly we work on the behalf of people who are looking to live their life in dignity in retirement. So for pension holders, for foundations doing really amazing work. We're really proud of a lot of the foundations that we have as part of our investing group.
I think it would be remiss of us to not bring up the story of the year for many, Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
But part of that story, seriously, has been music rights. Yeah, the idea of music rights, and I wonder what the trickle down or the ripple effect of the negotiations right at the top have for you down, lower down at the earlier stage.
Yeah, so I think, listen, it is the summer it is the femme summer between Beyonce, Taylor Swift, Barbie, Beyonce breaking records in terms of comp score and for audience engagement at her tour globally. It has been a really great summer to really show and showcase the power of the female economy with respect to music. But also with respect to content, right? And so for us, we see those trends. We've been seeing them. We've been investing behind them. We continue to look to invest behind them. And we're really excited about continuing to invest behind those themes. So from the top of the funnel all the way down to owners of IP like us, we participate in that. We have songs in our portfolio that were part of the Barbie movie soundtrack, all the way to writers who've written with people like Beyonce, as well as writers who've written with people like Taylor Swift. So we get to benefit by being a part of that broader ecosystem and how much engagement the fans have around it.
Cherise, it's great to have some time with you. The expertise.
So kind of you. Thank you.
Come back on the show. Cherise Clark Suarez, of course, Harborview Equity Partners, right here in Los Angeles. Coming up, we're going to talk about the intersection of media, of entertainment, with the VC industry too. M13 partner Lizzie Francis is going to be joining us.
Yeah, live from Hollywood, where the money's coming from. This is Bloomberg.
We are live from Los Angeles, California at Bloomberg Screentime. I'm Caroline Hyde.
And I'm Ed Ludlow.
And meanwhile, we're taking a look at how the money is flowing into this industry ultimately, whether it be in public markets, also whether it be in private markets, entertainment, content creation, all of that is now in our conversation around VC Spotlight. We're going to be bringing in Lizzie Francis, partner and head of operations over at M13, has $900 million in assets under management. You are an operator, of course, of other star-like names, GOAT, for example, and I think that's what distinguishes M13, is that it is an offering of operations and expertise, not just the money of allocation. But talk about allocating money right now, because it feels like only if you're AI related are you getting any.
Yeah, thank you, Ed and Caroline, so much for having me today. I mean, it's hard to believe a year ago OpenAI released ChatGPT, and in that year we have just seen unbelievable proliferation of AI-related businesses. So it's remarkable. 1 out of 4 startup dollars is now going to an AI-related business.
I also like to jump in and say, you guys, you have Fund 3 now, which is 400 million, but that's what you're investing out of, and you like lead all these rounds. Why? Why is it important to lead a round? Is it because everyone's having a bit of a scrap to get involved in whatever startup's available?
Yeah, it's such a great question. You know, at M13, we're really more than capital. We like to go beyond capital in every way with our founders, who are truly exceptional and are building really exceptional businesses. But the problem is, at the early stage, they're expected to be absolutely everything. So if we lead the round in these exceptional businesses, we get to really partner with them and help them every day on the things and challenges that will help them actually grow their businesses from a very early stage. So, for instance, we've recently led a round in Caregnostics, which is the healthcare platform that actually diagnoses powered by AI health conditions that people might have. So think chronic conditions like kidney or asthma. So now imagine you have this incredible platform powered by AI, and it's actually giving clinicians the ability to work with their patients and get them preventative care ahead of time. Yeah. And so when we partner with someone like that, we want to be alongside them because they are having real transformational outcomes happen in the world today with humans. We want to be there every step of the way through their journey.
What's interesting, though, is there's the optimism, how AI can help with healthcare. There's the fear, how AI is going to disrupt industries like the one we sit in right now, the fact that actors are still on strike, the fact that writers are just coming back, and a lot of that has been about artificial intelligence and how they protect themselves. How are you seeing allocation money to AI that is disrupting content?
Yeah, it's a great question, Caroline. And actually, I think it's similar across all industries, be it healthcare or work or even media. I mean, even this summer, Runway had a pretty monster Series C, and they are creating creator tools to actually help creators produce content more quickly. So I think there's lots of ways that AI can be used. I think there's 2 key areas that M13 is particularly interested in that's driving this proliferation of venture dollars into this space. The first is the ability to crunch data, at rapid pace and build these really remarkable business models that can transform businesses. And the second is in productivity, right? So removing these rote manual tasks or speeding up processes like in media, which is how can I distribute content quickly? How am I able to check for copyright infringement at scale in a global market? I mean, these are really wonderful applications that AI can drive innovation in. We actually are really excited. We just led a round in a company called Polymorphic, which is a SaaS powered by AI constituency service. And that's a mouthful, but let me tell you how they're tackling productivity, which is really interesting. Every day across the United States, local government is mired in sort of old-fashioned, archaic, rote issues when it comes to process. So, Ed, you want to throw a party this weekend at a park? You need to pull a permit for it. I'm sure it's an awful process,
I don't throw many parties, but hypothetically, yes.
I'm sure there's paper involved. There might be a phone call or 2. So now imagine that happening millions of times
for an event like this.
Exactly, across the United States. What they're actually doing is taking the cost out of operations on the government side. They're making that pain point of production faster, and they're making us as taxpayers and constituents have a much better customer experience.
Well, it is one big party here. Lizzie Francis, partner and head of operations at M13, thank you. We have so much more to come on the show. Next, we're going to hear from Angel City FC talk about women's football. That's next. This is Bloomberg Technology.
If there's one company that you believe will have a really good next 5 years, who is that?
YouTube, Google will be fine. I think Microsoft will be fine. I think Netflix will be fine. I would not put my money on Paramount. I think there's going to be rough times at Fox.
Which of those was a bigger surprise to you?
I think probably Oppenheimer. I mean, an R-rated film with that subject matter and at the running time. But I was really surprised at the sort of the breadth of the audience.
It's been fast and furious from the very beginning. I think, you know, it's looking at doing things differently. How we started out with a different investor group, a different model that's, you know, not the usual for football. And when we look at a predominantly female
Thank you for saying football.
It's football. Just let's clear the record. It's football, not soccer.
Okay.
Music to our British.
Yeah, the baseline is set. Please continue.
Know your audience. And so, yeah, I think how we did things differently. We have a predominantly female-owned, operated business and club, and you know, I think the way that we're approaching, you know, community first, right? We are engaged with our community. We have fans that show up, 22,000 fans every home game that we sell out, and it's this flywheel of we want to produce on the pitch, you know, for our community, for our fans. They support us, and I think it's been.
That's kind of why I asked the question. So
Yeah.
David Beckham goes later in his career to America. The men's game wasn't as developed then. Then the stadium, a small stadium, empty. But
Yeah.
you guys have this ginormous following already in the stadium every home game.
Yep.
When you get ready to play, Alyssa, you're young, with respect. What is it like getting ready for the game at that level at your age?
It's honestly really fun. I love seeing all the fans and all like the chants and stuff. I love hearing it, and I just love that it's really a community there, and you always feel supported. Whether you're losing, you're winning, we're tied, I always feel supported by the fans, and I always feel uplifted. So it's honestly amazing.
And that uplift, Andrew, is something that companies want to associate themselves with.
100%.
You locked in phenomenal deal with DoorDash, and you've interlinked that relationship with them, with philanthropic giving, with ensuring that the community keeps building. How are you ensuring that you can monetize a great feeling, ultimately?
I mean, I think our revenue group has done a tremendous job. That 10% model of, again, engaging the community and giving back to the community with every sponsorship deal that comes in. So I think that's been a huge part of the model for our success.
And ultimately, is that something that attracted you to want to lend your talents to such a force? I mean, was it just obvious that this was the path, the calling, the brand that you wanted to align yourself with?
I mean, yeah, I feel like making the decision was hard, but once I felt like it was in LA and at home, I felt really good about my decision, and just being a part of this club is amazing. It's so much more than soccer, and I love being a part of a community like that and being with just so many powerful women too.
An LA success story, of course. That all being surrounding the world of soccer, we call it football. But Angel FC and Alyssa Thompson just being one of the ones to watch on Bloomberg's Business Week. We welcome the editor now, Joel Weber, who also sat down with Angel City yesterday. But who else in this list has really caught your attention across the world of media and entertainment?
Yeah, what we really wanted to do was spotlight some names that you might not have heard of, arts, culture, entertainment. And what we end up there with is this really interesting cross section, right? So Alyssa, obviously, huge name, 18 years old, gets to be in the World Cup, headlining this team here in LA that has done amazing things, and then also graduating from high school and turning 18, right? So that kind of embodies it. But when we look across, like another group that I'm really interested in is what's happening at DC, where we have these two names who are basically leading the charge on what DC will look like when it takes on Marvel, which Marvel has made this huge universe of characters.
Don't tempt me with a battle of the superheroes.
That's what we're talking about, right?
Let's move on
it's
quickly.
It's going to be one to watch.
Because it was interesting to see music, restaurants in there. Just some of the other names quickly, Joel, that are on the list.
So the Ice Spice is one that I think is really interesting. Like anybody who can touch Taylor Swift right now, as she was able to do a collaboration with, she has just gone to the heights of hip hop in a way that few people have done it. And it all started for her with Drake listening to a song and then giving it airplay.
Joel Weber, editor of Bloomberg Businessweek. Terrific list. Check it out, Caro.
Fascinating, because not only are they the up and coming, it's then the people who are already making massive moves in the world of Hollywood. We're going to be speaking, of course, with the co-CEO of Netflix, is going to be joining Lucas Shaw on stage, Ted Sarandos, and of course, YouTube CEO too.
Yeah, Neil Moen. I've got a really interesting video games industry conversation coming up too, and you are going to speak to a big name.
Kris Jenner. More than 2 billion, almost 2 billion followers across the Jenner Kardashian household. So we'll be speaking to Kris Jenner as well. This is Bloomberg Technology.